Welcome to the Pistons Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm not as excited as usual to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons. This is one of the most disappointing days in Piston history, and we knew it was possible. We knew we had, a 48% chance of getting the fifth pick, but when the draft lottery played out like it did, and everything went exactly as it normally did, and nobody jumped ahead, and then all the bottom five teams were going to get the bottom five picks, and for us to be the one team that got the fifth pick is just sickening. I just like a gut punch to the stomach. I still will contend that we did the right thing. I mean, we didn't have a choice. We weren't going to make the playoffs, and we had a chance to get Victor Wembanyama. And like I said earlier, that when people buy lottery tickets, when the the Powerball reaches a certain point, people just go out crazy and buy tickets. Well, we just had to just play out the year and lose some games, and we had a 14% chance. But we also had a 52% chance to get a top four pick, and we did not. And so, like I said, the fact that the lottery, nobody jumped ahead of us until Portland did. And then also everybody jumped ahead of us. All four teams jumped ahead of us. So, and then the Spurs get Wembanyama. So I'm sick to my stomach. I feel like I want to vomit, but it is what, realistically could have happened. I still don't regret 1 minute of what we did. And, that gave us that chance. And we're lucky we got no worse than the fifth pick. Some teams could have jumped forward, and we could have ended up with a sixth or seventh pick, even if we were in the bottom of the lottery. So it's like, where do we go from here? And so we look at the Rockets got the fourth pick, and the Blazers got the third pick, Hornets the second pick, and the Spurs the first pick. And so obviously the Spurs are going to take Victor. The Hornets, they probably will take Scoot, but they already have LaMelo Ball, one of the best point guards in the league. So that'll be interesting. The Blazers have the third pick. Would the Pistons trade up to get the third pick? Would they trade? Are the Blazers in win now situation? The Blazers could trade the Pistons the third pick and then get the fifth pick, and then they could trade the fifth pick even and get more players ready to play. They could get Bogey. They could get our fifth pick. Basically, we would trade them, maybe anything that they want besides Cade, Ivy, Duran. So that's, I'd be interested, willing to trade just about anybody that we had. If they wanted it, we could take some money off their hands if they had some contracts they wanted to get rid of. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I will say that we still have, it looks like, a great chance of getting Cam Whitmore or Amen Thompson, who are really good, really good. And especially I want Cam Whitmore. That's obviously who I would take right now if he doesn't get taken fourth. Brandon Miller could slip to 5. There's weird things happen in the draft. So we just have to, stay strong. The fact is, though, Cade Cunningham is our guy. We were lucky and we were blessed to get Cade with the number one pick that we got. We won the lottery that year. And Cade I'm going to talk about him more in the future about his leadership skills and what he brings to a franchise and how he sets the tone for the whole culture of the Detroit Pistons. So I believe in Cade. Ivy is out of this world. I am shocked at how much he improved. And I didn't think he would ever become the passer that he's become. And, he could end up being better than Scoot Henderson. If Scoot Henderson played like Ivy did by the end of his rookie year, I mean, Scoot has unbelievable upside. But, Ivy has just been spectacular. And then his shooting, his mid-range game, he just really improved it. And then his three-point shooting has greatly improved. And so Scoot's only 6'2", and he can't shoot threes. And he's been working on it for 2 years. He's had lots of time, and it hasn't happened. So I'm not, it sounds like I'm, rationalizing things, which maybe I am, but I believe in Ivy. With Duran, we have just this great player. And if we get Cam Whitmore is a slasher. He could benefit from Cade and Ivy's great passing. Um, he's a forward that we need, a wing. He's arguably one of the best defensive players of all these guys. He's one of the best wing defenders in this whole draft. He's only 18 years old. He's younger than any of these guys that are projected in the top of the draft. He's younger than even Wemby. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. Hopefully we can get him. There's still possibilities of a trade. You never know. Amen Thompson, he could be there. Cam could be taken fourth, by the Rockets. Some people think they would take Amen Thompson. So he was a better fit for the Rockets, but you just never know. So they really kind of could use a point guard. He's more of a point guard. We have two phenomenal point guards. So, Cam Whitmore fits our team the best. But again, it is just so disappointing. All those teams, when they're counting it down and all the teams come off the board and usually somebody jumps up. Usually at least one team jumps up from 8, 7, or 6 and jumps up into the top 4. But everything was going so great and I was so optimistic, and then we got that gut punch. But like I said, we're in still great shape. And I know you just, everybody's disappointed, and I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed. But like I said, I wouldn't be as disappointed if somebody else had jumped up. But when we were right there, and all the bottom teams were left, and we were the one team that fell. So, like I said, we're in great shape. We're going to get a really good player, or be able to trade it, hopefully, for the right player. We still have lots of cap space, and I'm still real optimistic. I never would have started this podcast. I started it when Cade, after Cade, and then we drafted Ivy and Duran. That's when I started the podcast, because I have never been this optimistic. Still, it's just disappointing when you know what you could have had. And so I just am going to go on and look forward to the draft and see what happens. I talk real quick about the coaching search. Monty Williams is the big, piece that, he came available. He got fired by the Suns. It is remarkable that all the winningest coaches, Monty Williams and Mike Budenholzer, were the winningest coaches in the last 3 years in the NBA. Budenholzer probably was the winningest coach over the last 8 years. Doc Rivers has won tons of games. These teams that, won lots of games, and they get fired. That just tells you all you need to know about coaching, all the pressure that, it's not good enough to win, but you have to be the championship. So Piston's job is a phenomenal job, and I think that, there's way less pressure, but way less opportunity to feel good about yourself and to mold this team and turn this team into a champion. And it will take time. This next year, I still believe, even with the 5th pick, we'll improve by 15 games. I believe that with all my heart, unless Cade or somebody gets hurt again. And so we just have to wait and see. But I think that any coach should be thrilled to coach this young team. And I know there's Kevin Young, 41 years old, that was an assistant with the Suns. He's been rumored. I don't know why he never was rumored by the Pistons, but it sounds like the Bucks have asked permission. The Raptors want to interview him, and so do the 76ers, I think. All those big jobs that are open, and the Suns are going to interview him. Even he was an assistant there. So the 4 really good teams there. But I would rather coach the Pistons than the Raptors. And even the Bucks job, you got Giannis, and I love Giannis. I think Giannis is the best player, but they got Lopez as free agent, and so is Middleton, and they're going to want lots of money. They're old, and so you're going to have to overpay them, and they're going to be on the decline, and so who knows how long and how they don't have any cap space to reboot, and they don't have a high draft pick to get younger players. So I think that's going to be a challenging job. The Sixers are a mess. Harden's probably going to leave for sure. He's an unrestricted free agent, and Embiid gets hurt a lot, and they still have a nice group of guys left, but it's still not optimistic. they're going to have to hire a new coach. The Suns, people projected them once they got Durant that they were going to win it all, but they're not a great job. I mean, it's going to be more fun to be a Pistons fan. The Suns got, Booker is phenomenal and one of the best players in the league, and Durant is one of the best players in the league, but they don't have much else around them, and they've traded away their draft picks, they traded away all their depth, and their salary cap is full, and so that's going to be a tough job to get them over the top. And and the Raptors, they got a bunch of free agents. They got some of their best players are free agents, and they got some other players who could, might only have 1 or 2 years left on their contract. So I love our young core. I'm going to have fun next year, no matter what. I'm thrilled with next year. Tonight, I am sick. Tonight, I feel terrible. I wanted the number 1 pick, obviously, but I was really hoping for a top 3 pick. We should find out real soon, I think, now about the coaching search. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 2 or 3 days that the Pistons hire somebody. They could still be waiting, if they want Monty Williams, and it says, you got to wait for me. I'm going to take all these interviews, because he could be interviewed by all the teams without a coach, and he could, maybe Troy would want to wait for him. So anyways, it's a short podcast. I just wanted to get it out there, and I just am sorry, Piston fans. We've gone through a lot the last 3 years, but there is hope, and we have Cade, and we have Ivy, and we have Duran, and we're going to get another really good player, and we have Bogey, and we have Burks, and we have Stu, and we have some good young post players, and anything can happen, and I think that we're still have a bright future. So if you're watching on Spotify, leave a 5-star review. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe. It helps me out. It matters. You have to click that subscribe button. That's all you got to do, and then leave a thumbs up and do something nice for somebody today. I know we're down, but we have a bright future ahead of us. I'm going to be on this. I'm still a Piston fanatic. I still think our team's going to be amazing. And I think Cade's going to even improve more during the summer. His three-point shot's going to be, Ivy's going to improve. But again, do something nice for somebody today, and go Pistons.